Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Diving Squid YouTube channel. In this video I had the awesome chance to chat to Noah from Blackthornprod about his game dev experiences. The link to the Blackthornprod YouTube channel will be in the description below, as well as the link to his most recent game release, The Dashing Fire, which I'll be playing in the background of this video. I got Dashing Fire alongside Noah's new multiplayer course on Udemy. Whether you're new to making multiplayer games or you've already done a bit and just want to expand on what you know, this course is so good so far. The links to all these will be in the description. Now on to our chat. Hey there. So yeah, I was just wondering if you'd like to speak today about just your sort of game dev journey and your experiences and stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk about anything game dev related, of course.
Yeah, so I might be wrong, but you do game dev full time just now, don't you?
I do, yeah. I'm lucky enough to be able to do
Yeah.
game dev and YouTube full time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So how long have you
Um,
been developing games? Like where did you start?
so it's been about 4 years, four and a little bit that I've really been creating games full time. Not full time, actually. I started 4 years ago. It's only been full time for 2 years. So before that, it was more like a hobby. I had high school,
Yeah.
and I was working on games at nights usually. So yeah. Sometimes I look back and I wonder how I was able to do high school and work on games and videos and stuff. But
Yeah.
somehow I did it, and so thankfully, leaving high school, I was able to just dedicate myself full time to it. So
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's been
totally.
4 years. I would say 6 years. So yeah, 6 years ago, I started learning a few like 3D software. So I really got into Maya, Autodesk Maya. I wanted to basically work as a filmmaker for Pixar. Wanted to create 3D animated movies and stuff. But then I kind of like fell in love with games when I discovered Unity and realized how not easy, but how doable it was to create a game, even in a
Yeah.
small team or even alone. Before I didn't even think that was possible.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I would say that the discovery of Constructs 2, which was a small 2D game engine, and
Mm.
it's pretty awesome even today. So I started. I think my very first game was made with that, and a few months later, discovered Unity and made with my brother Midnight Fire, which was a little 3D top-down shooter game, and since then I've just been quite in love with games,
Yeah.
creating them, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
Such
so
a huge world to explore.
yeah, so when you began, like, were there as many resources, like tutorials, as there is now, or was there not as many on like YouTube and Udemy and stuff?
There was, I would say, still quite a bit, quite a lot when I entered. So that made learning really quite enjoyable and
Mm.
easier, I guess, than it was maybe 10 years ago. For example, there was, of course, Bracky's fantastic YouTube channel, and I consider him to be one of my main mentors in the early days, learning
Yeah.
about game dev. And one of the Udemy courses I really enjoyed was by Ben Tristram. A pretty massive course, and I learned a great deal from that. The game dev scene was already pretty firmly in place when I popped
Mm.
in, and I only started making YouTube videos, I think, a good year and a half after having started.
Yeah, so what got you into making YouTube
So yeah, I
tutorials?
think that was one of the main reasons I would say was to market the games I was making. So I had made quite a few games. Nobody plays them,
Mm.
which I didn't mind too much. Even if a few friends and family played them, that was enough. But I knew that if I wanted to make a living out of game dev, I would definitely need to build up a bit of an audience.
Yeah.
So that was the main reason. But then all kinds of other. So when I started after and built momentum, I realized there's so many other benefits than just as a marketing tool. Like making tutorials, by just making them, you learn
Yeah.
such a great deal. I guess you've noticed a bit of that
Yeah,
as
I've
well.
definitely found that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I just felt my skills skyrocket by making tutorials, doing all that research, and then learning something and trying to put it into words and explaining it.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, the community around it also, having a Discord server and just getting all these nice comments. It's extremely motivating. And yeah, so
Yeah,
tons of benefits to
yeah, I've
YouTube.
definitely found that just through doing it. You don't have to be professional or anything. People will take interest in whatever you
Exactly.
do. Yeah.
Of course. I feel people are interested also in following your journey and as you learn and become better and better.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, so in the beginning of your YouTube, was it hard to find your audience, or did people take interest in your tutorials pretty
So,
quickly?
yeah, so after 1 week, I had, I think, 50,000 subscribers. Not joking. No, definitely not. It was really slow, extremely slow. After 6 months, I think I had 500 subscribers. So as you see, that takes a lot of time. And
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
think after a full year, I had 10,000. So it took me 1 year to reach 10,000, but that was really it was really exponential. I would say 8 months in, I had maybe 5,000. And then the next 2 months, I
Just
got
kept going up.
10,000. So I feel like
Yeah.
YouTube can be very, very slow. They can also be extremely fast.
Yeah.
So never give up on that. And how long has it been that you started?
I started YouTube like 3 or 4 months ago, I think. Yeah, but I'd posted a few videos before then, but not consistently. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I had a whole YouTube channel before Blackthornprod, which was about 3D animation and stuff, and I deleted all those videos. Obviously, they were terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a channel before Blackthornprod, deleted all that, and then started all over again, trying to be very consistent. I think, especially when starting out, consistency is going to be really key.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm sure.
after a moment,
Yeah.
it definitely. No, just like basically, yeah, the consistency. After a moment, you are going to build
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
momentum, and more people will discover your channel.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's a lot of people who will be watching your channel and my channel who are beginner game devs out there who want to get into making games but don't know where to start. So what would your biggest tips or recommendations be to them to get into making games?
So, classic tip is, of course, follow tutorials and stuff is very important, and lots of good channels out there to learn for free. Or if you're willing to put a bit of money in for a Udemy course, which is quite structured and it's going to be consistent throughout. But perhaps even more important than tutorials is just creating your own little projects.
Yeah.
That's like you're going to learn so much by just making small games, even if they're not very good. You'll still learn incredible amounts.
Yeah, I think
so
game
I think
jams could definitely. Yeah, game jams
Yeah.
could definitely help with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. It puts you that time limit, so you're not going to procrastinate, and you're just going to create something. And you don't care if it's perfect because it's not supposed to be, especially with that time limit.
Yeah.
So a great way to meld tutorials and creating your own projects is just you start with a very simple idea on paper and you try creating it, and as soon as you hit an obstacle, you search online, and then you find tutorials that you can apply to your own project.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best balance.
Yeah, so you have a lot of experience with game jams. You've run 3 of your own and taken part in many as well.
To game jam.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Yeah, there was the recent one just a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and I'm playing all the community games now, and they're all so inspiring.
There are so many entries.
Many of them are incredible. But yeah, I've done a good 30 or so game jams since starting out.
Could you tell me a bit about your process? How do you come up with the ideas for them?
Oh, so I feel like that idea process has gone through different phases. When I just started out, it was kind of like panic mode, just going on paper and trying very hard to find an idea. But I feel like the more pressure I put on myself to find an idea, the worse the ideas get, or not at all. They just don't come at all. So just try and relax. And because when you think about it, like ideas, they just kind of appear in your head. You can't really do that much for your idea. The most important, I think, is just to sit down, give yourself the time and space to come up with ideas, and then your unconscious is going to do the work for you. So if you're just focused on kind of asking yourself a question like, what is a good game idea to go with this theme? And then you just kind of patiently wait, and the idea is going to appear. You have to trust the idea will appear. Of course, you can't wait too long. Sometimes, like if you're too perfectionist and you're thinking, "Ah, that's not good, that's not good," that might be a form of procrastination, and you might just lose a ton of time. So I think it's important also to come with an idea. You can maybe wait an hour or so, and if you've got an idea that you feel is solid, you just go for it, even if it's not perfect. And then by prototyping in Unity, making things just like coding and that, I feel like the idea will develop itself further.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just need to get into the action,
And then it comes
the idea
naturally.
will come. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, since you've run a few of your own game jams, the one just passed included, what personally for you makes a game like innovative and fun to play?
So I'm still working on making innovative and fun to play games. I don't at all claim to be any master at that yet. But I would say the games I enjoy really playing are the ones that are obviously unique. How to make unique things, it's a very tricky thing. Like,
Yeah.
I myself don't really know how obviously you don't want to make things that have already been made. That's obvious. So if you get like a platformer game, if it's just like jumping and there's just a same enemy in that, it's not the most exciting. So you want to maybe blend at least one unique mechanic in. I think it's fine if the game is based solidly on something that's well known, like a platformer can still be extremely unique, even if there are already hundreds of platformers out there, even thousands.
Yeah.
If there's a unique story or art style or mechanic, it can still be an awesome experience.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, after innovation is obviously an amazing thing in games, but I don't feel like you necessarily need to always be innovative to make a fantastic game. Like Celeste is a great platformer. Again, an example of platformers.
Yeah.
It's super cool. It's not insanely unique. The story is, it's pretty incredible. But gameplay wise, it's like a platformer, and those are almost as old as video games. But what shines really brightly is the amazing level design, the fantastic controls and stuff. So what it does extremely well.
Yeah, it's such a good game.
Yeah. And that's the case for many games. If you can do something extremely well, then that's tops.
Yeah.
Being innovative, though, can be a great way to stand out, even if you're not a crazy good developer yet. So, even if the game is not super polished or the level design isn't amazing, if the idea is completely unique, then you're going to stand out. Although how to come up with very unique ideas, I feel like that's a mystery as well.
Yeah.
It kind of comes with experimentation and trying new things and just like being patient with yourself. But the actual process to come up with unique things, I do say, just gather different life experiences, I think, or get interested in other things than games. Like, obviously, inspiring yourself from games is amazing, but there's so many other incredible things to get inspired by, be it films, music, or just life experiences, traveling, other crafts like cooking, meditation.
Yeah.
So, I think it's good to get a wide interest.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so as well as like small games for jams, you've also worked on and released 2 commercial games, Dashing Fire and The Dreadful Whispers. So what was it like making those? Like, before working on them, had you ever worked on a big project like that? Or was that your first time?
That was, The Dreadful Whispers was my first big project, I would say. Before that, I would consider my biggest project to be 3 months long. It was called The Fire of Belief. It was a local multiplayer top-down shooter set in the mines. So that was pretty long for me. 3 months was huge at the time. But The Dreadful Whispers was made in 8 months, and that felt like a gargantuan undertaking. And I went through various phases of wanting to give up on it and so on. I must say, at the time, my work ethic was far from good. I was like spending long phases of just always working, followed by phases where I would hardly make any progress. So I like to think I've really improved on that front now, at least, about almost a year and a half later, where I've just got good work hours, and that helps massively being consistent, even with long projects. Because I think one of the big challenges with long projects is the burning yourself out and not being able to maintain that creative juice or even just energy or motivation to work.
I've
So what's really
yeah.
important, I think, yeah, is just going on your computer during the weekdays, creating your world. Even if you're not feeling super motivated, that's fine, and that is to be expected. Like, I've given up a long time ago, imagining or feeling like I need to be motivated all the time to work. That's impossible. You just need to sit down and get cracking.
Yeah.
And then the motivation comes, later when you're not really searching for it, just when you're working, being disciplined, the rest
Yeah.
follows.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Dreadful Whispers, that was 8 months long, and then Dashing Fire, which was last year, and that was about 10 months long. So those are
Yeah,
my
awesome.
two games.
Yeah, so you shared your experience making the games through the devlogs on your channel. And like looking back on making them, would there be anything you'd do differently if you were to release another game in the future?
So yeah, the Dreadful Whispers, again, the work ethic thing would change. For Dashing Fire, I think would I change anything? Hard to say. Maybe get more playtesters more often, and don't be afraid to show my work and
Yeah.
get bad feedback. Because that's going to make you're going to really improve in the long run.
Mm.
After, it's always hard looking back because you always feel like even if I did make mistakes, it feels like those were necessary to learn. Because if I hadn't made them, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have learned a great deal. So there's not that much I would change. I'm pretty happy with the overall journey.
Yeah.
Even the big mess ups, they were necessary, and I'll probably make tons more in the future,
Yeah.
which will help me continue to learn.
So do you think you prefer making the bigger games, or do you like making the game jam games?
Oh, they're very
different,
different
yeah.
experiences. Yeah, yeah. Each has their own pleasure, I would say. Maybe I prefer. Oh, yeah, they're too different. I can't say.
Yeah,
It's too hard. But yeah, game jam games obviously are quite stressful at times, and there's a lot of excitement. It's quite high adrenaline, and it's great. Bigger games like a marathon, and you're going slower, but it's also a bit more fulfilling, perhaps in the long run. It's very satisfying creating this huge world. And there's just times during development where you kind of look back and you say, "Oh man, this is so amazing! This is so cool! I'm creating this whole universe."
yeah.
But I can't really pick a favorite. They're both awesome. I wouldn't give up any while I'm making games.
Yeah,
How
definitely.
about you? Have you worked on any bigger game yet, or are you focusing
No,
on game
I've just
jams,
been
creating
doing.
small projects?
Yeah, I'm just working on game jams right now, but I hope that one day, soon enough, that I'll start working on a bigger thing.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, that game jams is an amazing way to
Yeah, and
start and to learn game dev, even for a few years. I think
you get
often
brilliant
at some point
feedback
you're
as
gonna have
well.
to just jump in it and try something bigger, even if it's just 2 months long, for example. Could already be a big stepping stone.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you get such good feedback as well, and like, it doesn't matter if your project isn't the best because that's kind of expected. Like,
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And you could
My very first game like that I made, which was terrible. I think I was maybe like 13 at the time. It was made for the Ludum Dare 41 jam, and like I had no idea what I was doing, but it was such a good experience, and like you get such good feedback.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I also took part in the Let 'em Dare 41. I believe the theme was combine two incompatible
Yeah,
genres. That was the one, yeah. Um, yeah, I also learned a great deal during that jam.
yeah. What was probably
Two
your
days long.
favorite jam to you've participated in the past?
Say that again.
What was your favorite jam that you've participated
Oh,
in?
hard to say. I feel like one of my own was probably one of the favorite ones. Maybe the last one there. I really enjoyed it a great deal.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them all in different ways, but since the last one is very fresh in my memory, in my mind, I must say it was so enjoyable making this game and talking with the community, making good progress. It was like something about game jam, especially the Blackthornprod one. It lasted a whole week.
Yeah.
So something about that whole week of just making, and you really feel that momentum. And by the end of the week, you feel like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that was my favorite jam. But I've enjoyed them all. I can't remember any single jam which I've not enjoyed at some point or another. Some
Yeah.
have been bad, but there's always been a little something in each game jam which I've enjoyed, even if the overall sometimes wasn't the best.
Have you ever like worked on a game for a jam and then just not finished it or not submitted it? Or do you have?
I think I have. Yes, I probably have. I didn't talk about those jams, I think, on the YouTube channel, even though it could make for good videos. But you're talking about your failures and stuff. It's always
Yeah.
interesting. But there were definitely some jams which I went in and didn't finish. Usually those jams, the ones I didn't finish, are the ones I kind of told myself like, oh, maybe I'm going to take part, maybe not. I was not like entirely certain whether I wanted to, and that uncertainty just bled through
Yeah.
the whole experience, and I didn't finish. But I think a good 95% of jams I've decided to take part in and really commit to it, I finished something, even if I didn't have only just a few hours left. After a moment, you realize that you can make a decent
Yeah.
prototype in even a few hours using the amazing Unity, and like Unity does such a great job for you to just create games. Not like in the past where you had to write your own engine. Now you can definitely create something decent in a few hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember a few jam experiences which were quite tough and tense, and only a few hours left, and still creating something, which is cool.
Yeah. So also, as well as jams and YouTube, you do Udemy courses. So what
I
was
do,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
My brother.
Yeah. What was it like filming or making them? And do you think it was a good experience?
It was a very, very cool experience. I had my little brother, Liam, help me out on those, and I mean, we've made 4 now, and we've got a 5th coming up very soon.
Wow. Yeah.
And obviously, it's a lot of work because you're making tons of tutorials. But sharing the work, with my brother really makes it easier. And of course, the quality is perhaps a little less good than the YouTube tutorials, maybe a little less edited. The explanations are still, good quality, but just there's less editing going in, so there's less work on the actual video assembly. But yeah, you learn so much by making those courses, as well as thankfully teaching others. And I must say that is my biggest source of revenue is Udemy courses. Funnily enough, I would like in the future to be able to make more money from my games than actually teaching games. But for now, it's great. It's an amazing support, and is enabling me to continue bettering my craft, getting better and better. So we're making a 5th course. This probably will be the last one for quite some time. Me and my brother, we just really want to focus on getting better at game dev by making games, creating commercial games and stuff, and maybe in a couple more years share what we've learned. Yeah, Udemy was awesome. Are you thinking of maybe making a Udemy course yourself?
I'm not sure. It might be something I'd look into in the future, but not right now. I'm not planning on doing it right now.
Got time.
Yeah,
with the YouTube stuff already. Like I told you, I saw a few of your tutorials, which were very good quality.
Thank you.
The editing was very nice and stuff. The actual course we're making right now is on multiplayer game creation.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so beforehand we were looking at different videos that are already out there, learning ourselves and seeing how people explain concepts and stuff. And so we stumbled upon your series on multiplayer game dev, and I said, oh, this is good quality. I was like, oh, you deserve more subscribers, and you will get them if you continue consistently.
Yeah, it's gone. I've definitely got a lot more support than I expected in the first few months. Like, I honestly didn't expect anyone to watch the videos, but yeah, it's been awesome.
And there you go. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so that's really all I was hoping to talk about.
Well, there we go. I've shared a few of my secrets.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
That was my chat with Blackthornprod. It was awesome to speak to him, and I really appreciate Noah taking the time to do this. Again, all his links will be in the description below, so make sure you check them out. Thanks for watching, guys.